All right, everyone. Thank you for jumping on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. It feels like the earth is defrosting a little bit over the last couple of weeks, so it was a nice day to kind of get back into the cycle of things. So thank you for everyone coming. I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is Wednesday, January 7th at about 4:05 p.m. and this is for the Peartree Point Building Committee meeting. You take a quick attendance. We got that recorded, so all good to go. First and foremost, again, thanks everyone for coming. I want to approve the minutes from, did everybody get the opportunity to take a look at the minutes from the last meeting? Were there any adjustments or any corrections that need to be made?
I'm good.
All good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm good. I made a few tweaks, but we're good.
Thank you, Peter. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion
Right.
to approve the minutes.
Yep. Peter first, Malind seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Perfect.
Aye.
Thank you. And we did leave room for public comment. I want to thank, I think it was Pete. Was it Pete who sent, or somebody sent me an email? Yeah, suggesting that was recommended last week. And I apologize. The first revision of the agenda went out.
It's in the minutes. It's in
Perfect.
the minutes. It's
Yeah,
now.
no, it was great that you looked it and you caught it, and we put it in the next round, and it will stay there until we finish this project. So I appreciate the oversight. Do we have anybody for public comment at this point? Okay, seeing none, we can go on to our project update. Jack, you want to fill us in on how things are going?
Yeah. So thanks for having me. If any of you have driven by the site, you can see that they are well underway at this point. So a couple key updates from our last meeting. They had gone before the Planning and Zoning Board to get approval for that amendment to allow the alternative means and methods for dredge material disposal, which was granted at that meeting. So they started getting mobilized on that, and that's been ongoing. Our inspectors are on site regularly to check in on progress. So based on last I spoke with them on Monday, they were about 60% of the way through the dredging process, give or take. So well underway, and they do not see any issues with completing that work within the permit window. They have been working with the boat club as they've been dredging around that area at the request of the boat club to not move their dock. They kind of got as close as they could, and based on the readouts from their equipment as they're doing the dredging, at the end of the day, it's only a net decrease in about 10 cubic yards of material to be removed, and it's on the perimeter. So seeing as that won't affect the navigability, and the boat club, which owns that property, kind of would prefer them not get too close. At this point, we're recommending that they just kind of hug that area as close as they can, but not necessarily go to the full limits and potentially have to disturb the dock. So that's been the only minor tweak to that so far. I guess just circling back quick, as far as the means and methods go, just so you're all aware, the initial approach was going to be to have them haul it out via barge to a clean earth facility. And as we discussed, they've now switched to trucking methods. So they do have to go to a couple different disposal sites, which they've done the requisite testing for on the material and gotten all their approvals in place so that they can dispose of the material at those locations. The clean earth one was a barge only disposal site for that particular facility that they had planned with. So they were able to get other facilities queued up and approved. So all of that is squared away at this point. I think there's also a question we had last time. I forget, maybe it was Peter who asked any potential cost change associated with that. So we did talk with Yield, and based on their review, they do not anticipate any change in cost to the overall contract value at this point based on the means and methods. So we haven't had any. Yeah. So we haven't had any proposed change orders as of yet. Obviously, if they do come up in the future, we will notify you all and have them sent to you for approval. But at this stage, there have been none to date. We are all caught up on submittals. So everything they've sent in, some of them had to go back and forth once or twice, but all of it's been approved. So everything is on track there. There have been a handful of small RFIs, just some clarifications to a couple items on the plan that we're working with them on right now, but nothing mission critical. So aside from the dredging work, they've started forming up the sidewalk and curb that's going to go along the perimeter of the park there against the beach area. And they've also they're starting on construction of the boat ramp. So they were able to salvage a few more of the existing planks than we had anticipated. So I think our plans showed maybe 20 feet of reuse of those planks, but they turned out to be in quite good condition. So they're actually going to get about 34, 36 feet or so of that reuse, which is beneficial from a schedule standpoint. And they are currently tracking. I mentioned they're well on track for the dredging. They're about a week ahead of schedule, actually, overall, across all the items. So they will be providing an updated schedule once the dredging scope is complete. Once that's kind of done and out of the way, they can shift their focus to the site development, and we'll hopefully have an update for that at our next meeting. But big picture, they are on track and even slightly ahead of schedule, which is good. I think aside from that, they've started also installing some drainage structures. I think last I spoke with them, they had about 5 installed. So that work is also underway for the new catch basins that will be going in. And with that, as more of the parking lot work comes into focus, they had been temporarily maintaining parking for residents to access. I think it was Great Island. Some folks walk from there. But now that the parking lot is really going to be underway, they've closed off that parking. So that whole lot will now be closed for the duration of the project as they work to rebuild the parking lot area. And I believe that's all I had in my notes. So open if anybody has questions, or Jen, I don't know if you want to chime in with anything to Townsend.
Yeah, if I can just add in, there had been some questions as to whether or not we can do anything with additional sand on the beach to replace some of the sand. So we have looked into that. Unfortunately, the permits that we have for this project are only in relation to the new sand that's being added. So we would require new permits to do any of that. So because we had thought maybe we could add that into this project as a change order if it made sense. But being that we would need permits from the state, we believe the state, and also possibly Army Corps. So that's going to be something, we don't want to jeopardize this project in any way. So we'll be looking into that as a separate item once we get through this. But I just want to let people know, because I know that's come up, but we will further investigate what we would need to do and how we would go about doing that. So it is still on the radar. It's just because the permits don't work for that process, we won't be doing that at this point.
Jack, I had a quick question. It's Bob Lyons. As far as the asphalt is concerned, I remember a few years back, we avoided doing some paving in town because the price of oil was so high. Are we locked into oil price, or does the price of oil affect our costs at all?
They're locked into their bid price. So if they anticipated a cost increase throughout this, they should have worked that into their bid. But at this point, they can't double back on what they've submitted as a bid. We would certainly push back on it if they try to. So,
Okay.
if we were to add area, of more asphalt, not that we are, but that would maybe play into that. But at this point, no, they're locked into their contract price.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Jack, what are they doing with all the millings?
I'd have to ask them. A lot of times they bake that into their pricing because it goes back to the plant and gets reprocessed for other jobs. So I would assume that's the intent on this one as well, but I haven't got a specific answer. I could certainly ask or follow up with them if you're interested.
Yeah, just so we get a sense of, are they selling them? Are they bringing them back to the plant?
Yeah. a lot of time. I know on bigger paving
They're not
jobs,
always a problem.
yeah,
Sometimes they're valuable.
yeah, a lot of times they do, paving contractors price that in because, like you said, they do take it back to if they have their own plant, they'll process it and reuse it for something else. So that's usually baked into their contract pricing. But I can reach out and see what they're planning to do with it.
That was going to be a quick technical question of mine in that same vein was so they are removing asphalt from the site. They're not perforating and just putting on top, right? Not leaving it in place.
Correct. Yeah, it's
Okay.
going to be a full rebuild.
Okay. Cool.
So I did drive down yesterday. It was the first time I've been since in probably 2 weeks, and there's definitely a lot of activity going. Just yesterday, they closed out the parking lot completely. Originally, we were, trying to reserve the 15 spots to be able to use for Great Island, and that's no longer an option. So the parking lot is completely closed. The beach is completely closed. And the Board of Selectmen is working on an alternative for some parking options to be able to access Great Island over this, kind of lull period. For right now, that traffic down there should just strictly be for construction projects. But things are moving, right? We did get one email from a resident who did say that they were concerned that the contract company was coming a little bit early. Jen reached out to them. They were certain that they would make sure that no lights and starts and engines would be starting until 7 a.m., which I think is zoning permit. That's what's allowed by state mandate. So that was clarified. And then there was some debris of some plastic that had come off some of the containers that blew around. It was a bananas windy kind of weekend. And again, the contractor has assured us that their foreman will take a look and make sure that any debris that does come loose, they'll pick up and make sure that's cleaned up. So in terms of public, in terms of working with them, we have not heard a lot of feedback. It doesn't seem like it's been really impactful in the area. But I'm sure if we do, Jack and his crew have been great in kind of managing that and making sure that we make this as seamless of a transition for the neighbors. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, it might be a little painful for the short term to not have the parking, but
Yeah.
to your point about things happening, I'm really pleased to see that there's 3 project initiatives happening at the same time. Drainage, dredging, boat ramp, everything. So all in concurrence, it's great. So
And I would say, as somebody who lives on Peartree Point Road, lots of trucks, but I haven't noticed them before 7. And I would also say that they drive relatively cautiously.
good.
Thanks. Okay. On to the next. I think we lost our agenda, so I'm double fisting with my phone. That's okay.
Hold
No
on.
worries.
I can share it.
So we get into our financial matters, I think, at this point. Jen, do you want to cover that just so you can give us an update on where we are with financials? That you've received?
So we paid the one, can you see the
Yep, it's up.
thing, hopefully? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we received the one bill at the last meeting we did, you guys approved two bills, one for Yield, one for Weston and Sampson. Those have both been put out. I believe Yield received their check. I'm not sure if Weston and Sampson got theirs. Hopefully they did. And I'm just thinking what those amounts were. I think it should have been 90,250, I believe, for Yield, and 16,625 for Weston and Sampson. So that's where we're at so far.
Okay. And then we have 2 pays to approve today,
Yep.
which one is for Yield. And it looks like the amount is $1,139,762.50. And this is for what they've done up to this point.
Since the last bill, yes.
Yep. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay, and then
Sorry, one quick question. The retainage, is that's the full number, is the 1139762, that's including retainage? Because just going down to the next page of that, it's sorry, the second page of
Sorry,
there,
the-
Should be less the retainage.
less retainage, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so that's one, I see. All right, I did bad math. You're right. Thank you.
Yeah, the retainage is 64,737.50 is what's currently being held for
Got it.
retainage.
Perfect. All right, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and the second payment is to Weston Sampson, and that's for 33,500. This is for phase 1, phase 2 inspection, services and inspections. Anybody have any questions on this?
Looks good to me.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
Perfect. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the two payments, one to Yield for $1,139,762.50 and one to Weston Sampson for $33,500. I get a motion to approve? Millen first, anyone second?
I'll second.
Is that Marty?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All in favor? Great, thank you. Okay, on to our next. Any change orders at this point? I think, Jack, you said you didn't have any change orders. Jen, is it the same?
Correct. Yeah, there's no change orders at this time.
Perfect, okay. Okay, does that discussion of matters related to this building project? So our timelines are still on track. Jack, the drop dead date is January 31st to have the dredging completed. Is that?
Yes. So, yeah, January 31st for dredging, which, as I mentioned, they're about 60% through now. So they are on track for that. And then they're still anticipating total project to be complete. I think it was by mid-April, but again, they'll provide a new schedule once the dredging is done with any updates. And as I mentioned, they're currently tracking ahead of schedule. So,
is there a certain temperature that it has to be in order for them to lay asphalt?
yeah, so they'll probably do that at the end when the weather warms up a little bit. Most paving plants tend to close by first week in December or so. So it's all based on ground temperature.
But okay, but April is a reasonable time to do that.
Oh yeah,
type of
yeah.
work?
They should be able to do it in March or April, I would think. I mean, it is weather dependent, but usually that's reasonable.
Perfect. I mean, that will be great if this is open and done before Memorial Day weekend. Okay, in terms of communication with the community, I like to put this in there because again, Great Island is so dependent on that parking area. And I know that there's a lot of walkers that walk down Peartree Point. John did put in the newsletter that just recently came out, letting everyone know that that beach is now closed and those 15 parking spots are no longer available. And we'll continue to, continue to give the public that information so that there's no surprises. Somebody doesn't go down there with their family picnic and have nowhere to park. So I think it's important to just let everybody know where we are in the process. Any additions? Any other things anybody would like to discuss? Okay, let me just double check my calendar. I believe our next meeting is February
4th?
It'll be February 4th.
February 4th. Okay. Same time, same place. Zoom 4 o'clock on February 4th work for everyone?
Yes.
Works for me.
Okay, great. And if there's additional stuff that comes up in the meantime, I'll be sure to communicate with everybody via email. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out. And in the meantime, take a drive down there and look. It is lots happening. I'm kind of pleasantly surprised at how fast things moved from a month's time. So,
I mean, there's no room in that parking lot. I mean, it's just packed.
no room, packed, absolutely packed. It was wow, there's a project going on. And even just standing from the houses, you can see that there's, tons of cranes and construction work. So it'll be good to get this project done and get the town to be able to use it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we got the dredging done this year because to Craig's point, he was not going to come back and do this on fresh asphalt, and I think we can all see now why. It's black, it's gross.
Yeah.
But it's good to see it all moving pretty quick. So
great.
Cool. Thanks everybody.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful
Thank you.
January.
We need a motion to adjourn.
Sorry.
That too. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.